Welcome to my One of Us's Line literary essay presentation. For my essay, I decided to analyze the novel One of Us's Line from the Marxist critical theory. I decided to sort of talk about how the novel discusses the hardships that the socially and economically disenfranchised face every day within society and the negative impacts these hardships have on their lives. And that is the thesis that I wrote for my essay. So there are three ways that the author speaks on the hardships that the disenfranchised face throughout the novel. The first would be the negative stereotypes and the negative ways that those stereotypes impact people's lives. The second way that the author speaks on the hardships is through the poor living conditions of the disenfranchised. And lastly, the author also talks about the negative effects that drugs can have on people's lives. So this first image up top in the top left corner is really a great example of stereotypes and sort of the negative effects they have. As you can see, there is a little silhouette person surrounded by quotes of people saying stuff like, "Aren't you too tall to be dot dot dot?" And these are really just sort of examples. They're not very subtle. They're very out there examples of how people will just automatically assume things about others and how this can have negative impacts on their lives. These negative impacts and these negative stereotypes are portrayed through the quote, "I won't pretend I know Nate." That's just a little snippet of the quote, but mainly this quote is just sort of talking about how one of the main characters, Bronwyn, is basically saying she won't say that she knows Nate, perfectly well. She doesn't know him for like who he truly is, but she also doesn't believe all the stereotypes surrounding him, and she believes that these are untrue. Now, the second image in the middle of the poster is the one of the house, and this is obviously used to show the poor living conditions of the disenfranchised in the book. Really, just like that house does not look pleasant. And the quote from the novel, which I think perfectly encompasses what Nate's lifestyle and what his life is like, especially his living conditions, is when he talks about how some people walk by his house and say stuff like, "I can't believe someone actually lives there." That obviously just shows how people are in such disbelief that some people in the world, their living conditions are so poor that it's almost unthinkable that they could live like that. And obviously these poor living conditions have a negative impact because people are constantly saying negative things about Nate, one of the main characters, and his family. So the last photo on the bottom left is just sort of, I think this is actually a perfect photo to sort of describe the negative impacts that drugs have on people. As you can see, there is a person doing cocaine, a drug, but the background of the image is very dark and it creates a feeling of loneliness and separation. And I think that this is very key. Like, this is very important. And it relates to the quote when Nate is saying that his mom, quote, "would have been fine if she'd stayed away from cocaine." He's just talking about how his life and his mom's life especially went downhill because of the drugs. And this sent him and his mom into a lonely state of darkness and sadness, which is too bad. So thank you for listening to my presentation. It just sort of sums up the entire theme of the essay and the novel about how, there's a lot of negative things that happen in the lives of the disenfranchised, and how these negative things surrounding their lives can make their lives a lot tougher than, the average person's. So yeah, thank you for listening to my presentation. Have a good day.